Okay, y'all. Hello. I'll wait for somebody to tell me that they can hear me. Hello. Oh wow. This is I was just on live and they said that they couldn't hear me. Good evening. Okay. So hello. All right, y'all, let's go. So now you can hear me. So again, tonight I'm going to speak about a 51-year-old transgender man who was, for whatever reason, some reason, put in a California prison with women, and he raped two women. However, his charge from 1990, he was involved in robbing somebody at gunpoint, kidnapping, robbery, sexual assault of two women. So he went to prison in 1990 for raping two women. I'm going to do a little more research on this case because I really want to know how did he ended up getting into a woman's prison. Here is a picture photo of him. He looks just like a man. Here he is. His name is Mr. Tremaine Dion Curl. So he's been locked up since 1990. So I want to find out what transpired for them to send him to a women's prison. So I'm pretty sure he was raped in the men's prison. And you know, they say rapists, if you are raped, you continue it, you carry it on. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, that's your mentality from that point on. So it says a transgender MA 51-year-old Tremaine Dion Curl has been removed from a California women's prison after being indicted for rape. He was indicted for rape of the two women in prison. Curl was transferred to a men's prison after two women accused Curl of raping them. One victim says Curl raped her in the shower at the Central California Women's Facility in Chowchilla, California. This is what I mean, like the police in a unit, but if you are in a prison setting in a unit, your showers is up. Some of the showers are on the floor. That means certain facilities that you go to, but mainly the women's showers are up on the top tier. So if the police is down under you, they can't really see. They really can't see. You would have to, do something, or the other inmates would have to tell. So he basically went in the shower and raped her. That's why I think I told y'all a long time, I don't play them shower games because they play tapping other women on the butt and ooh, this, that, never play. I don't play them shower games. And this is one reason why. If I was in a women's prison and I knew that a man was on my unit, I would have very real problems with that. Whether he was a transgender or not, I would have problems with that. So it says the victim says she now has trauma and isn't able to shower for days at a time. She was serving a short sentence for burglary when Carl attacked her. This isn't the first time Carl assaulted a woman through in jail in 1990 as an adult. This is what he was locked up for per hang. He was arrested for involvement in the gunpoint and kidnapping, robbery, sexual assault of two women. So he was already in prison for sexually assaulting and raping two women. How did they, I mean, I know it's been 2 decades since 1990. How did they get to moving him to a woman's prison? Okay, it says victim says Carl began expressing sexual interest in her immediately after moving cells. Immediately when I saw that he was coming on to me sexually or looking at me sexually, or I felt that type of way, I was going to tell them to move me out of that unit. No ifs, ands, and buts. I would have rather went to the SHU than to stay in a cell with a man. He's still a man. So it says Carl is now at the male-only facility, Valley State Prison in Delano, California. I'm going to dig a little more into this because that's crazy. But that goes to show you how these prisons are. They don't, I tell y'all all the time, they don't care nothing about you. He should have been in a locked cell by himself. He should have never been able to be on the compound or in the unit with other women. He still is a man. He still has man utensils. I don't care what he plays to be in his mind. He still is a man. So by law, and I know they did, I'm sure they did, them 2 women sued the prison, and they have every right to, because that was just, I don't even think no judge would even told him to send him there, send him to a woman's prison. That don't make sense. Okay, so now we're going to go. We have a 15-year-old girl. This is sad. 15-year-old teen girl raped, shot in her chest, and set on fire by her mother because her mother blamed the relationship between her and her boyfriend on her. It says that this young girl had been living in a house with them, I think over a year, something like that. She had just moved with them or something. He was raping her. Then he shot her in her chest. He shot her twice. This little girl has lost half of her face and her eye due to all of this. So I'm going to let y'all hear it. This is disturbing. Let y'all hear this.
Abused by the couple at their home, Paris, and her boyfriend, 41-year-old Terrence, uncensored 40-year-old LaToya Harris, and her boyfriend, 41-year-old Terrence Washington, are both behind bars in Louisiana tonight. They're likely on a path straight to hell, and you will agree. This is after Harris's 15-year-old daughter was severely abused by the couple at their home in Terrebonne Parish, just outside of New Orleans. How bad was the abuse? Investigators say Washington shot the teen on 2 different occasions with a shotgun. One time in the chest. Police say he also raped her, and in order to cover that crime up, the teen's mother set her on fire, blaming her, and also never getting her a treatment for the gunshot wounds. The damage was so bad, the teenager lost half of her face and one of her eyes. She remains hospitalized after all of this was uncovered during a car accident in Baytown, nearly 300 miles from their home in Thibodaux, Louisiana. And joining us on the Factor Uncensored tonight, we have with us Ashlyn Brothers, who is a reporter for Fox 8 in New Orleans, WDUE-TV. Ashlyn, thank you for joining us. Such a tragic situation that we have here with this 15-year-old who is from Louisiana and, of course, got into an accident here. And that's why investigators found out that she was in distress and abused. But take us to the beginning. How did we get here?
Yeah, so, initially, what police say is that this had been going on for months, right? The alleged abuse, the buried abuse, if you will, had been going on dating back to around February, what we call carnival season, when police say that there was distress within the household.
And of course, we're talking about her mother and her mother's boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So she lived in a home with them, and by relatives. She had moved in about a year and a half before these incidents, so she hadn't been living there for too long. But what we've been told by police is that that's when things started to go awry. That's when police say that the boyfriend admitted to sexually abusing the girl for numerous accounts, right? And then at that point, police say that the mother then burned the girl, and the police say that this was something that she was doing as a sort of cover-up for what had happened. Police also say that the mother blamed the 15-year-old for the incidents that had occurred. It wasn't until the shooting incident where police say that the boyfriend shot the 15-year-old on 2 different occasions that then they took off for Texas.
That is incredible. So the mother burned the girl, according to police, in order to cover up her being sexually assaulted by her boyfriend, according to investigators, right?
That is, to my understanding, I would have to check back with that, but yes, that to my understanding, that's what police say.
Do we know who the 15-year-old was living with before she went back to the home with her mother and her mother's boyfriend? Who was she living with then?
So here at my station, we've been very delicate with how we've been phrasing this, and we have spoken with the relatives who she was living with before. We have decided to call them relatives, very close family members. Yeah.
And they're the couple that you guys interviewed and said, the communications was fine, and then it became few and far in between from calls to text messages, and then she just disappeared.
Yeah, and what these family members say is when they started cutting off communication, or rather when the teen stopped being as responsive, they say after revisiting with this teen once she was in the hospital, they say she was terrified, that she was scared, alleging that the 2 who were accused of these heinous crimes were sort of feeding her false information about what might happen if she were to come forward.
Wow. And so they left Louisiana and came to Texas in fear that he would be arrested for harming her, and then they got into an accident here in Texas in an area we call Baytown, just outside of Houston, where then investigators, CPS Child Protective Services, saw the girl and notified other family members and said, you need to, and the hospital saying, you need to prepare yourself. Just how bad was this child, Ashley? As far as the abuse and the injuries that she sustained, I believe she lost an eye, right, as well?
Yeah, so they had to remove an eye, so they're working to try and get a prosthetic for her. Several face injuries. From the pictures that I saw, we didn't share on air just because they're that graphic. Half of her face is burned off. There's no skin. Police say that she had suffered a gunshot wound to her chest and to her face. So there's that as well. And then, they say that the mother had refused to take the daughter to treatment at a hospital, but treated the burns. However, police say that they did not treat the gunshots. So you can imagine what state she was in, having not received any sort of treatment for those.
And we're talking about a 15-year-old girl. That is a nightmare to go through that, to endure something
Who
like that.
in the hell would torture a 15-year-old girl like that? Like, this little girl is basically damaged for the rest of her life. That is sad, and I hope, like they do in prison sometimes, they torture other inmates. I hope both of them he's most definitely gonna get tortured, so he raped her, they're going to rape him. He's going to get what's coming to him. But the mother, I think I said a story before. We had a lady from DC, Bonita Jax. They beat her tail. But when she got to Danbury, she was a little bit more settled out because she had already went through the trauma of being beat and stuff thrown on her. They tortured Bonita Jax, and they're going to torture this lady. They most definitely want to torture her. And the sad thing the good thing about it is she's not going to a camp or an FCI. She's going to the straight penitentiary. And in the penitentiary, they don't play around. Them little gang member girls in there, they are not going to play with her. You burned your child over a man. You let him rape her. Then you shot her, let him shoot her, and did not take her to the hospital to get her treated for gun wounds, and you burn her face. They going to burn her because they going to get her in that kitchen and they going to burn her. Both of them, they will be so traumatized. They going to remember what they did to that little girl. And I hope they do. Every day that they're in there, both of them, I hope they torture them. Seriously. That's crazy. And she only live with them for a couple of months. A month. Since February, March, April, May, June. 5 months. A year. 5 months. That is crazy. Some of these kids that are being brought into this world, they shouldn't be born to these people. They shouldn't even give them to these people. Whoever she was living with, they shouldn't even. I know they're thinking like, we shouldn't even gave her to them. That's horrible. That's really. It's no excuse for that. And a lot of these women, I never was that type. I take my son's word over everybody. His own father. I take my son's word over everybody. My child did not ask to come here. So when you tell it, I've had situations with my son, when my son was younger, with dudes would be like, you buy him too much. You give him too much. He gonna do this, he gonna do this. And the next morning, pack your bag, sir. You have a nice day. Because if you have a problem with my son, you don't need to be around me at all. I never let no man tell me nothing about my son. Nothing. And you ain't going to touch him. None of that. None of that. And it's also like the men that women involve themselves in. These little girls, but they rape little boys too. So I knew what type of dudes I was dealing with. And I knew, you know what I'm saying, I had that one. And I was like, you have a nice life. And he asked me one day, was like, Astorcia, you know what I'm saying, what did I do? You played with my child. When you up there telling me I buy my son too much and I give him too much, I let him do this, that, and the other. No, sir. We don't do that around here. So I told you, hit the road, Jack. And you never came back, so it wasn't none of that. Now, I do know some kids are very belligerent, very disrespectful, but my son was never like that because I never was the type of mother that bring a dude in my house and be like, okay, that's your stepfather. No, he not. Now, he want to, be around you. Yeah, we come as the package deal, but stepfather, I ain't married to that nigga. Hell no, he ain't your stepfather. But he in the house, he might have been providing something, but at the end of the day, it was me and my son. And a lot of these women, they don't do that. I said, go to girls' house, I see them feeding their damn kids hot dogs and beans, and your dude over here eating steak and potatoes. Excuse me, because I know your food stamps go for your kids, not this nigga. But I done seen so much shit, and I always said, now mine's, if you getting steak and potatoes, my son is sitting over there getting the same thing. The same exact thing. No less, no more, and no less. There's no way. Unless he say, Mom, I don't want no steak. I want some french fries and potatoes. Or I want some french fries and hamburgers. That's what he get. But these women, man, you take these men over top of your kids, you really is gonna burn it. You gonna burn to hell. For real. Seriously. That's a bit overboard. No man is worth your child. If a man can't do, I be hearing dudes all the time, I don't want, she got too many kids, or the kids always, when you start messing with a female and you know that she has kids, those kids are going to be there. So if you're going to get irritated along the way down the road, don't be bothered, because it is what it is. Ain't gonna be none of that where she gonna put the kids over here in a bit. No, those kids are gonna be around, and they're not gonna understand. You know, it's not. I used to hear people say, I put my kids in the room and they're my company. What? My child gonna walk all over my house. Excuse me? He gonna be in the room. If he don't wanna entertain my son or whatever, my son ain't go unless it's like something serious. So it's his bedtime. Go in your room. But for me to put my kids, like put my kids up or put my son up, cause he wanna, nah. This all our house. We all share this. Or you can have a nice life. I've never, and I used to have problems because I would never like, I wouldn't leave. You know how you say, well, let me drop him off somewhere, and then we could go. And I knew sometimes it was rude and disrespectful, but if you in the car, my son in the back seat. He's in the back seat. Now, not all the time, because you know I did have my spare time with my friend or whatever, but the majority of the time, he rolling with us. He ain't asked to come here. He did not ask to come, and for me to shadow him. At the end of the day, my son is going to be with me forever. You're going to leave one day. Our relationship will end, but my son will stay forever. And I used to tell people that all the time. I never played about my kids. Exactly. That's pretty according to Shonda. Hey, sis. Never. Never. If you accept me, you accept my son. We come as a package. I hate it. I do. And I could say that, and may Allah please forgive me, and I'll pray in a little while. But I never liked when I saw women putting their man before their kids. Tell your kids not going. Find somebody to keep them. And then you feeding this dude, and you know what I'm saying? Your kids ain't eat you. Like, I never, And those type of females, I stopped being around them. And if they didn't know why, they didn't know why, but I knew why. I couldn't do that. My son comes first, even now that he's an adult. My son comes first. I take my son over his father. Seriously. At the end of the day, it is what it is. My son comes first. My son didn't ask to come here at all. And that's for every child in the world. These kids didn't ask to come into this cruel world. And then you treat them bad and disrespect them and take advantage of them. It is terrible. It is terrible. And for these grown men who look at these little girls and you want to play with a child instead of being an adult and go get you a woman, but you can't get a woman because your mind and your mentality is not on that level. That shit is sad. It is sad. If I ever caught somebody that I was dealing with put their hands on my son in any type of sexual way, I would not be sitting here with y'all. I'm serious. Because ain't no sending him to jail. No, he's going straight in the iron box. He won't touch another child. He will never touch another child. And with me, I sleep hard. So if I ever thought that any dude I was dealing with my son was young, I didn't deal with a lot of dudes. I most definitely didn't, because of my son. You cannot, I tell women that all the time too, you can't have all these different men around you and your children, because your children start looking at you in a certain type of way. You just was messing with Johnny Boy last year, or maybe 4 months ago. Now you're over here messing with Henry the Baker. You can't do that. Your kids lose respect for you. And I always had a lot of respect for my son. Some dudes I dealt with, my son never ever saw them. Now, he couldn't tell you their names, what they look like, or nothing. Never ever saw them because it wasn't for him to see. You have to put sometimes you have to put certain shit in perspective where it belongs. He's not gonna be around. He's not doing nothing. So why you gotta meet my child? You don't need to. Whatever we do, we do. If I see you this week, I see you. I don't see you by. You don't need to meet my child. My son don't need to see all of them. No. And I ain't have a lot of men in my life, so it wasn't really too much to see. But into events, yeah, no. So I don't know. These kids, man, I feel for that little girl. I really do. And I hope and pray that one day she's able to get her face back. Maybe they'll give her, I'm pretty sure the hospital and stuff will grab her up where she'll look pretty again, where it's a lot of low self-esteem gonna be there. Somebody raping you and shooting you. Then he shot her in her face. Like, what type of, I hope they hang him in his cell with a nuisance. I'm for real. Like, just tie this sheet up and just take him out of here. Because prison is not even enough for him. That's crazy. I don't know what type of drugs these people be on. How could you rape a child, beat her, then turn around and shoot her? Like, what's wrong with you? That is horrible. That is horrible. And she probably feeling like she looked like some type of scared animal or something. Her face probably, they said she don't have no skin on. How could, I don't even imagine what that looked like. No skin on my face. No skin on my face. So I just got the inside of my face. I seen them take, and I hope they do this to her mother. They probably will, because it's a known thing in jail. When you in the shower, they take and they stuff your face. They'll run in the shower on you and stuff your face up under the shower and drown you. Or her cell buddy take and put her face in the toilet. Just anything crucial to her. Cut her hair out. And they do this on a regular. The locks and the socks, those combination locks. You know, like the kids back in the day, you need a combination lock to put on your lock at school. They take them, they put them in them big white socks, and they beat they damn near kill them bras in there. And they do it to the men. And I'm sure they're going to get her. Because that's very crucial. That's time. Very. And back to this woe man, because he's a woe man. I'm going to dig far in there, because I want to know, how did they put that woe man in a cell with a woman? He has a utensil between his legs. Like, what is wrong with these people? Sometimes we thinking the people in prison be literally wanting stuff to happen. If something like that would happen to me, just like I know this story. And for this brother, I feel very bad. Like, I'm not taking on his charge or taking on anything that he did. But for you to be in, what I say, a street person, you think you're a street person, or stuff that you do on the street, how could you not recognize certain shit? So, and I know, you know, when you are in prison, because I'm dealing with some of that now, when you're in prison, like, your mentality level to society is very low. You believe anything somebody get on the phone and tell you. You believe, you know, you thinking they keeping your spirits up or whatever. They just lying, and you believe all this shit, because you have, what else do you have? He was in prison for one murder. He beat that murder. And see, this is where the feds come in to be real dirty. The feds will set you up at any rate. If they want you, they gonna get you. To their benefit, not yours, to theirs. But my thing at this story right here, because I was like that. He let an inmate come in his cell, and the inmate portrayed to be cool with him. They was friends. The inmate never took his clothes off. And let me straighten this out. I'm not meaning a sexual way. I'm not meaning a sexual way at all. When this inmate, from my understanding, the inmate got in the bed with his uniform on. The inmate went to the shower. He took everything with him and got dressed in the shower. He, in the summertime, prisons are cold, but they have some prisons where you have the ventilation. You can open your window or something. Not all, but some. This prison they was at, you can open your window. He never seen this person change. And you know, it could have been because the other dude, he was known for beating up niggas and stuff in prison, da 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 da. So, but men, you see them in their cells, they change their t-shirts in their cells. They may change their pants in their cells. This guy never did none of that. And the whole time he was wearing a wire. He was wearing a wire. This is why I say every time I had a bunkie, it was hard for me to relate. I never talked in certain things that I was not supposed to talk about. If they asked me about my case, we don't talk about that. You ask me about a city, if you ain't from DC, we ain't talking about that. Only thing I allowed them to ask me and talk about was prison. That cell over there, what they do in the kitchen and what they doing. Anything outside of that perimeter, I was not discussing. He got comfortable with this inmate and told him about some other murders on the street. And that inmate went back to the feds with the recording and got him 3 life sentences. And I just found this out like 2 months ago because I had no idea as to, I knew he was in there for one thing, from one murder. But for him to still be in prison now, I was not clarified on that. And when they told me, I lost it. And I'm still losing it. That's what I'm talking about. How could you just get comfortable? I never got comfortable with any inmate. Never. My Muslim sisters, I really wasn't comfortable with them, but I knew they were my Muslim sisters. I didn't get comfortable with nobody. I never told no good old street stories, none of that. So I'm just like, wow. There's nothing you can do with that. You can't take that back to court. You can fight all day long. You fighting a pencil. Because you was in prison discussing the outside, and he has you not word of mouth, not like it's your word against his. He literally has you on a tape. Literally has you on a tape. And I'm just like, this is awful. So I'm like, it's no reason for me to send any paperwork to him or anything. You're not gonna beat that. You're not gonna beat that with a bat. You're not. Can they say you were set up, you were forced or coerced? Yeah, but at the end of the day, you were running your mouth. It's not like the dude say, man, come on, tell me. You know what I'm saying? Give me that information. That's coercing you. You were literally in the cell running your mouth and got yourself 3 life sentences. Sometimes it does not pay to talk to an inmate or talk to anybody or even express anything. I'm trying to read, y'all. Sometimes people just talk too much. Yes, they do, Mr. Summers. Yes, they do. Okay, my Ruth. Yes, they do. And they have no idea of, we all got, because I do. We all got a space in our bodies or heads or minds where sometimes some things we want to talk about and just vent. Me, I will. Nobody in the house with me. Can't nobody hear me. Can't nobody record me. I just walk around and start talking to myself. I swear I would. I'd rather do that than to literally go to a shrink, a therapist, or tell somebody in the street or something, because that's going to turn out bad for me. And I know it is. It's going to turn out bad for me. Sometimes I just sit down and I write stuff. And then the next 2 days I go back and I look and I see that I wrote it it goes in the toilet. It's not going in the trash. People go in the trash. Y'all believe it or not, they do. It won't go in the trash, it's going in the toilet. So sometimes in life you have to protect yourself and keep your mouth closed about a lot of things. Everything is not for everybody. And as I tried to explain this week, everything that's involved in my life does not go on the internet. And I mean it. I don't care who you are. It does not. So, sometimes people you have to fall back. You really have to fall back. You know what I'm saying? These people, I watched this, y'all know I watched the internet, and I'm just like, this is not who I am, man. I get up here, I talk to y'all, I tell my little stories, but literally, my personal business is my personal business, and I'm going to keep it that way. I've seen people, just saying all type of stuff. They done said all type of stuff about me. So I'm just like, this is not cool. Because at the end of the day, I don't care what you say or what you may think. The feds is most definitely watching. They're watching, they're listening, they're running, they're recording, they're downsizing, they're doing everything. And it's easy to catch a conspiracy case. It's very easy, but it's hard as hell to get out of. It really is. It's very hard. Right about that. Keep our business to ourselves. Exactly, man, Ruth. It's hard. I've sat and I've watched a lot of brothers' lives go down the drain just because they were with somebody else, guilty by association, or they were just standing there. They were just in the car. They didn't do nothing, but their lives are gone down the drain just for being with these people, just for standing there, just for being in the car, just for getting on live. It is real. So I've had people to tell me, nah, the feds can't lock you up for this. You have no idea what the feds can do. The feds can do what they want. Once they get that ribbon on your ass, they do what they want. If they want you bad enough, they're going to get you. So I can't stand when people tell me, nah, the feds can't do that. You just don't ever tell me what the feds can't do. I've seen the feds take the worst of the worst life. I've seen the feds take the good of the good life. I've seen the feds take a life that ain't had nothing to do with nothing and put them in a cell for 35 to 40 years. So don't tell me what the feds can't do, because you don't know what you're talking about. The feds can do what they want to do. Once you get in their jurisdiction and they got you cornered, you best to hope and pray you make it out of there, but initially you're not. And that's real talk. So I can't stand what people, the feds don't do stuff. I don't want to hear it, because I know for sure the feds can do what they want to do. I've seen it plenty of times, and it's not good. What you say? State, they never back up. They never, he said something about they never back up before. So once the feds come, they're coming. I was always told, once you make it to the feds, you've made it to the big house. So I played around. I went on by my business. I was cashing in on my checks, my credit cards. I ain't paying no attention. When they came knocking, I just knew I was going home. They was like, "Who? You might well hang up your boots, lady, because you staying." And it took me 5 months to realize that I was staying, because I kept getting into prison. I had people everywhere will come and pay my bond. I don't care, my bond was $50,000. Somebody put it to $5,000. They calling my mother. We getting her out. We getting her out. I kept staying in jail doing 30 years. I did 6 months one time. I did a year and a half one time. But that time when the feds came knocking, I just knew I was like, look, this a bond out too. I'm not worried, honey. Huh, yeah, I bond right in, and stayed a stretch. So you can't tell me all that county jail and you went to state prison, all that. That ain't nothing like the feds, honey. It's nobody like the federales. Nobody. And they'll tell you, you don't want to screw around with us. You don't. So if I ain't going down for a murder of an animal, I ain't going down. I'm going to let the feds go ahead. I'm going to let the feds go ahead. With me, I have to really control my temper. And I think I'm at that point because, like I said today on my Facebook, I wanted to thank a lot of the people that really grew up with me, that really know me. You know what I'm saying? My campus friends and family, other people from other states and stuff, because people saw me on live and they were really concerned. They were like, that is not her. Like, that's not her. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody has really seen me. I get out of my area, but I do it a little smoother than that. I was on a tractor trailer. I was gone. And, you know, people were calling. They were literally trying to calm me down and bring me back down and let me know, you know, this is not the person that we know. And when it really sunk into me, you know, I was like, they were right. They were right. But I really love and respect them for even, you know, sticking with me. Some people moved in and they did what they were supposed to do, you know, because they saw me going in a whole different direction. You know what I'm saying? A whole different direction of my part of my life that they had never seen. And they was like, that's not her. We don't know who that is right now, but that ain't her. So, you know, that's why it's always good for people to really know you. That way the riffraff, it will overcome that. It will overcome that. So I reached back out. You know, I seen a couple of people this week and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But, you know, people just tend to do things, man. But they knew that wasn't me. That wasn't my character at all. I'm a little smoother than that. I've always been. But this time I was somebody from a cage. And I knew I was because I felt it on my own self. But, you know, it's a time and a place for everything. And it's cool. But y'all, you know. So those are the two stories I wanted to talk about tonight. So next week, Gaylord was supposed to come on here with me, but I know it's late. Gaylord is having a new baby. And I know he's probably asleep or getting ready for work or whatever. And I love him and his little wife. They're real cute together. So he will be on here either one day this week or one day next week. We're just going to be chopping it up. But he had already told me. I had asked and he already told me. He was like, yeah, homie, I'm coming on there with you. So I will be having that guest on here. And I'll be going a couple of places soon. I keep saying that, but y'all, I'm trying to get my bar stuff back together. It's just, at the first time, it was, you know, like Speedy Gonzalez. Now it's a slow drift ride, but I'm getting there. And pop-up shop, still looking for entrepreneurs. Come on through. You know what I'm saying? You may not know what may happen. Come on through. But, you know, that's not until July 6th. So I'm still working on that, you know, promoting that and stuff. So at the end of the day, it's called Live Your Life. Live your life one way or the other. So tune in next time. Thank y'all for coming out tonight, rocking with me. And if it's any new people on here, like and subscribe. See y'all later.